Alright, well, here we go. Then I'll talk about the generic arcade sticks and stuff. So this is my first arcade stick. As you can see, it's Capcom here, made for Capcom, for the Super Nintendo. It's got turbo, but once again, it's a sand wall. You hear that clicking sound? That's sand wall. That's the difference. Whenever you get one of them that goes bong, that's American. This is sand wall. Japanese sticks usually are round. American is the baseball bat shape. But yeah, the reason why I got this was because I got my 3DO and I got Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo for it. And this is the start of my arcade stick phenomenon. I got my 3DO and like I said, I got Super Street Fighter 2, and when I got it, the 3DO controller had only 3 buttons on it and 2 L&R buttons. Well, where's the 6th button? The 6th button, right? So it only had 3 buttons like a Sega Genesis controller, and it had L&R like a Super Nintendo controller. So I couldn't use a 6th button for Street Fighter, and I was like, this is bullshit. I mean, you could, but you had to press the P button, which was the pause button, which on Super Nintendo would be the start button. So it's way over here, you gotta push the start button. So it was totally awkward, and I was like, fuck this, there's got to be a way. And I read online there's no arcade sticks for 3DO. So I was like, what the hell do I do? I was like, there's got to be an adapter for PS1 or something. And I looked up a controller adapter for 3DO, and the first thing that came up was Super Nintendo to 3DO adapter. So I thought, oh, alright, yeah, okay. Super Nintendo. So what I gotta do? I gotta look up a Super Nintendo controller. So I bought the adapter. I tried my Super Nintendo controller on it. I thought, this is great. I got all my 6 buttons. I was thinking, I want to play with an arcade stick. And I was looking online, and I was wondering, what's the best arcade stick? And naturally, the most expensive one, the first one that I saw, and the scarce, rare one that I saw was this Capcom. Officially licensed, the very first Street Fighter / Capcom arcade stick. So I got it, and I was playing with it, I was like, yeah, there's that. And then I was thinking, alright, cool. So there's that story. So this will work for Super Nintendo and 3DO, now that I have the 3DO Super Nintendo adapter that you can use Super Nintendo controllers on a 3DO. Okay. So there's, now, let's evolve here. Then I got my Sega Saturn fighting games. And I started thinking, man, this Sega Saturn controller sucks. I can't play with it very good. I'm not very good with the controller. And I think I'd be better with an arcade stick. So I was thinking, well, I want to play with Sega Saturn arcade stick. So I looked up the Sega Saturn arcade stick, and sure enough, the only one I could find was this one. It's got turbo too. It's real good. I'm real good with it. Really good with it, and I was content. I was okay. I was alright. I was like, alright, I can kick butt with this, This is a good arcade stick. I mean, it's not sand wall, don't click, and it's not like American, it don't bob. It don't go bong or anything. But it's a good arcade stick. If one thing Sega knows, it's arcade stuff. So it was good, So you couldn't see because it was so dark in the other video, but. You ever seen anything like that? Look at that. It's a fighting arcade stick, sand wall, because it clicks, and then a flight stick. So here's the Rumble Pack expansion feature. This also has turbo. You set the buttons for turbo, rapid fire, stuff like that. Which, just in case you didn't see it good last time, look at it, it's elevated. See how it's elevated in the middle? I seen one of these at Easy Pawn one time, but it didn't have a box. And I've been really wanting to use the arcade stick for Nintendo 64, but speaking of Nintendo 64 controllers, I want to show you 64 controller because you know, something similar to PlayStation at least. I mean, I wanted a real controller. Look at that. You ever seen one of those? The stick, I mean, it fits in your hand like a PlayStation controller. You know, it's better. It's got 6 buttons in a row, 6 buttons, you know, and it's got turbo, auto fire. I mean, turbo, you know, and then it's got this little knob. But when I bought it from a pawn shop. I've been looking for one online. Could not find one online at all, right? And the one I bought online, it came in. It was a PC remote. It looked just like this, but it was a PC remote, and it had this black knob, the knob to it, right? So I couldn't use the PC remote because it went to Windows 98, and I don't have any Windows 98 shit. And I was like, fuck, so I kept it anyway. I didn't want to send it back. It was only like $10. So I kept it, and later on I found this in a pawn shop, and it was missing the little knob. I was like, aha! I said, I can take the fucking knob off that other one and put it on this one. Sure enough. Let me tell you, this controller is much better to use with Resident Evil 2 and you know, stuff. Resident Evil 2 than crappy ass Nintendo 64 controller. Other than that, that's about all I use it for. Resident Evil 2. Can't think of anything else I want to use it with. Use arcade sticks for fighting games. This ain't no. I mean, I also bought this because I wanted it to be like a fighting controller, but it's just not happening. It ain't gonna work. Alright, when we was at Best Buy and shit, and I want to show you a controller. I mean, I want to show you a controller for PC. This is what I was talking about. This. Has you ever seen something like that? It's a fucking controller. It's the Logitech G13 controller for PC. Games like Battlefield Bad Company 2 do not support the Xbox controller. They don't support it, so I bought this. And it's not bad. I mean, I bought it because I'm not used to the, you know, most PC games use that WASD control scheme. But this, as you can see, it has WASD, but also over here you can see it has an analog, so you can move up, down, left, right with your thumb. And the idea is you put it on one side of your chair like this, you know, and you can up, down, left, right, and then you've got macros. You can set like grenades one button, change button to the other button, and move up, down, left, right with your deal. Plus it's got the push button on the analog, plus the it's got buttons next around the analog, so you know, one could be change your weapon, the other one could be, you know, zoom or whatnot. But you get the idea. I mean, this is strictly for those first-person shooter games like Battlefield Bad Company 2. It's fun. You know, I imagine I'll have this, and then I'll have the what is it? No Vent Falcon on the other side, using it as a gun. Eventually, one of the first-person shooters. And like I said, keep things put up. You know, who would have thought boxes are very important? Because, you know, keeping things in their boxes, we would never think when we were young that keeping them in their boxes not only preserves them from damage from dust, but also makes them storable, much better to store. You know, when you go, you know, you might think I'm going and digging this shit out of some fucking nook and cranny. I'm not. I'm gonna put it up nice and neat. Another thing I didn't show is this. This is a 3DO flight stick. This goes to a few 3DO games. It seems more realistic than any of the other flight sticks. I mean, it's a heavy-duty flight stick. It's mainly for, it says as all the flight sticks do, which you didn't see on any of the other ones, it has this button here which goes up. It has this, especially C group, up, down, left, right. You know, it's a little knob, kind of like analog, but digital. It's 3 buttons here, and it's got 4 buttons around there. But yeah, it's for a flight simulator game for 3DO called Flying Nightmares. It's pretty cool. Now, the new edition that I have. Oh yeah, by the way, that flying stick came with my 3DO, so I didn't buy that on the side. So I don't have Flying Nightmares, but I have tested the flight stick on Need for Speed on 3DO, and it does work. So. But here's the other. This I had. This I showed you in another video. It's the Arcade Shark. You see that? You ever seen anything like that? It's for Nintendo 64. I bought it for a fight stick to use for fighting, but just not good at it. It's not. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a fighting stick. I wouldn't want to use it for fighting. What I use it for is, 3D games. 3D games, like, Castlevania 64, Mario 64. The reason being is because the analog is so easy, and I mean, it's just to tilt it and walk is so easy. You just hold it with the tip of your finger. But when you're doing it with your thumb with the controller, I mean, you just can't control it. I mean, even whenever I was little and younger, and I played Nintendo 64, I played Castlevania 64 all the way to where you got Nitro, and you had to walk on a bunch of mazes with Nitro, and if you fell off the top of the maze, you died. Well, you could not control with the Nintendo 64. You just fall off every time. So I said, "Fuck it," I quit. I mean, sure, I had cheats, and I cheated to get there with the Game Shark and everything, but with the Nintendo 64 controller, I couldn't even do it. And that was way back when. So now I was playing with this, and I was thinking, yeah, now I can finally beat that game. I bet you. Because this is fucking. I mean, you don't have no jittery. With the thumb, you're like, it's hard to control that one little nick, and one little nick to the right or left, and you fall. You're dead. And then it sucks. But yeah, you might be saying, oh, what the hell are you going to do for a fight stick for Nintendo 64? Then what are you going to use for your fighting? You're right. I guess the dual arcade stick, or the best bet is the Hong Kong arcade stick. It's a real good arcade stick, the Hong Kong one. Or I might just buy another one of these. I had to buy this from Europe. The Shark arcade stick in America is actually made from Game Shark, the Interact, and it's a big red box. Same fucking controller, but in America it's different.